start the day by cleaning your mind, your wandering mind. And it really increases the focus and productivity. So it's a great tool, and you can use it during the day for 5 minutes between meetings and then come fresh to the next meeting. You will be much more efficient and effective and productive.
Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Just sit back, relax, and learn from the leaders of today. It's a journey. Each one is different, unique, inspiring. Let's get started. This episode is powered by J Ventures, a community-driven VC fund in Silicon Valley in partnership with Leumitech, sponsored by Homeward Ventures, Hippo Insurance, Upwest Labs, Synergy Global, Hillel at Stanford, Leap, Birthright Excel, Serona Partners, and in media partnership with CTech. Hello and welcome to another episode of 20-Minute Leaders. We're talking about leadership and the wisdom to lead. Meet Keren Tsuk, the CEO and founder of Wisdom to Lead. Keren Tsuk, Ph.D, is a sought-after speaker, consultant, and thought leader in the 21st century of leadership. As founder of consulting firm Wisdom to Lead, she specializes in the development of senior management teams and corporate leadership. Tsuk guides companies and senior management teams to reach their full potential using various techniques in the field of mindfulness. She is also the author of Mindfully Wise Leadership, The Secret of Today's Leaders. Dr. Keren Tsuk, welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm looking forward to talking about leadership. I get to talk to a lot of startups and a lot of investors about their particular method of leadership and what that means to them. You have a PhD from the Hebrew University in leadership in the 21st century. You're the CEO and founder of Wisdom to Lead. And so, over the more than a decade, you're investigating and you're helping companies and individuals become better leaders and do it more intentionally and much more thoughtfully. So I'm looking forward to understanding your holistic view and maybe touching on a few case studies of how we can see good or bad leadership and learn from there. So Keren, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you. Looking forward.
So Keren, how does one get to become an expert in leadership and as much as do a PhD in leadership? How does that happen?
First of all, it's leading by example. So it starts with ourselves. So evolving as a person, as an individual, growing to new areas, to new zones, and working with 20 years of working with leaders in promoting change and growth. So you learn from the experience, you're working with people and you evolve to the situation and the experience. So, as you said, I conducted a case study 2 years in a high-tech company because I was really interested to learn what's happening when the theory meets the field. It's really nice theories, but then we need to deliver, right? We need to engage people. It's not enough to write an article. And I was really, my leading question was what is the role of leaders nowadays in leading financially successful organizations alongside motivating and engaging the employees from intrinsic motivations and enabling them to fulfill themselves and to be creative and innovative. And I found, that mindfulness is a crucial element that leaders will need to embrace nowadays in order to engage people, to reinvent ourselves, to evolve. And I'm working with these tools and with this experience in order to help people to listen deeper to themselves, to their employees, to their customers, to the market, changing needs of the market, in order to listen to what they really need, and from this place to create products and services that add value to their community.
So I think that, one question that I think we need to start with is, even going a little bit higher up and understanding, what are the complexities of leadership and why is this something that we as humans or, just in general, why is this something that we find difficult to really do really well? And when we do have some cases of people who did this exceptionally well throughout our history as humanity, but why is it an exception to be able to be a really, really good leader?
Because as I said before, first of all, we need to be able to really listen to what's needed and not act out of our ego, right? And out of our automatic behaviors. and to dare to pause and ask ourselves tough questions. And we don't like to look in the mirror and say, okay, I was wrong here. I need to adjust. I need to pivot. I need to change. I made a mistake, and to take accountability, to be accountable for the mistake and to be vulnerable. So we really need to connect to our humanity and to be able to connect to others, and at the same time to see the bigger picture, and not to be hooked up in our story, because it's only our story, but the story is much wider than ourselves. So it's the ability to also listen to ourselves deeply, and at the same time to be able to listen to see the broader picture and to decide how we want to act and hold these tensions between, as I say, that a mindful leader, what characterizes three elements. The first one is the ability to be mindful and present. The second one is to hold tensions. The modern world is full of tensions, the organizational world, between the short term and the long term, right? Between the employee needs and the organization needs, between speed and quality. So as a leader, I need to be able to be in the uncertain, to hold these tensions and really listen. And from this place to enable the right and accurate solution to emerge. And we don't do it usually. Usually we learned as leaders that we need to do and be in the doing mode and to run and not listen to what's happening. And I can, like a dog that runs after his tail. Usually we run after our own tails, right?
Right, 100%. So this connection of mindfulness to leadership, from what I'm understanding from you, it really stems in this ability to pause, reflect, and realize, okay, this is how I may want to be doing something, but there is a new situation here that's unfolding. And if I'm mindful to it, then maybe I realize that my intuition is not necessarily the right course of action, and I'm able to lead better, right? And this is where mindfulness is coming in here, just being more mindful of the situation and being able to pause more, correct?
Yes, and in my research and in my book, I'm talking about the central tools for leaders, and I call it a dialogue space. What does it mean, a dialogue space? It's continue what you said. If we have a complex product that we're offering, want to develop now or service, and we don't really know how to go forward, it's the ability to create a space and to explore together and come humble and be present and share my experience and my thoughts. But I don't need to have the answer. It's okay to say, okay, I think the way we are going, it's not the correct way. We need to pivot. I don't know what's the right way, but my gut feeling tells me that it's not the right way. And that's all. And now listen to the other people and respect other viewpoints and create space to really explore, to be present, coming with open mind, open heart, and open will. And once we create the space, and it's not easy to be there, we need at least one leader to be able to hold the space of vulnerability, of respectful to other people, we can create a place for new solutions to emerge and much more creative and innovative.
So just also to understand the landscape here, when we're talking about a leader, if you're imagining the persona of the person that your work is relevant to, is it mainly the leader of the organization, or are there more types of people within an organization or within the world that would benefit from understanding a lot of these concepts?
So look, we're talking, there's the traditional leadership. So first of all, for your question, it's for each and every one of us. It's important. And now I will say why. Because, the traditional leadership based on authority and title and hierarchical relationships, but we know the workplace is changing, right? And the leadership is changing. And each and every one of us needs to create relationships based on trust and partnership with our colleagues, with our employees, with our vendors, with everybody. We need to engage people from a deeper place, right? They want to feel meaning and they will engage. Otherwise, they won't come with us. So we need to be able to lead from a different place. So this, and the new leadership, I see it as a social process. It's not one leader that leads the company. There's a lot of leaders there. And every time another person is a leader, I can be a leader of a conference. You can be a leader of an idea, of a team. It doesn't matter. And it changes. And we need to use the wisdom of the crowd.
Right. That makes sense. Okay. So now let's talk more tangibly about things that perhaps, we can do today through your research that will make us more effective, more mindful leaders in the day-to-day? What are some things that I can do, starting in 10 minutes when our conversation is over, to become a better leader myself?
So first of all, I recommend, it's not a must, but it's a great way to start the day by taking 5 or 10 minutes, meditating, pausing. If you don't like to meditate, be with yourself, go to nature for 10 minutes, but start the day by cleaning your mind, your wandering mind. And it really increases the focus and productivity. So it's a great tool, and you can use it during the day for 5 minutes between meetings and then come fresh to the next meeting. You will be much more efficient and effective and productive. So this is one of the aspects. Another thing to do as a leader for employees, be present with them. It's really critical nowadays to be there for our employees. So ask your employees how you can be there for them. If you see an employee struggling, refer to him emotionally and ask him how can you help him. And don't come with the solution, because we don't always have the solution. If an employee or colleague feels seen, it's enough. We don't need to do a lot beyond that. So this is another tip that I can give, that it's crucial.
Right. Now, regarding this exact notion that you just mentioned, not always having the solution, around us as people, what have you been finding? If we're looking at the tech industry and we're looking now at the positions of perhaps CEOs and the executive teams, how is this something that is relevant for the success or the demise of a company, for example? Because I understand in the micro situations why it may have effects both, on personal relationships and on specific decisions. How do these things play out in the greater context of a company succeeding or failing?
So let's talk about as leaders, the ability to be vulnerable and authentic and connect people to the broader picture, and not showing the rosy picture that it's not really what's happening. So,
right.
In the company that I conducted my Ph.D., I was really amazed to see it. They were struggling. They were going through a difficult financial times, and they stopped recruiting. And, people starting talking, and the anxiety increases, right? Because when we don't know what's happening, we feel anxiety and stress. And what amazed me, that the CEO told me, I'm going to have a meeting, a company meeting, and I'm going to share with them the situation. And he was vulnerable and authentic. And he told them, look, this is the situation right now. We are not recruiting anymore for now. I don't have answers for you. I can't guarantee what will be in 6 months, but once I will know, I will let you know. But the fact that he stood there and showed up and was vulnerable and authentic with them, it was amazing, because people stopped talking behind the back, in closed doors, because they feel part of the process. They felt safer now, because they understood that, okay, this is what's happening. The CEO talked with us, he showed up, he answered our questions. Sometimes he didn't have answers, and that's okay. But this was amazing, and people were really relaxed once he talked with them. Even he didn't produce them the result, the answers that they wanted, but only showing up. It's such critical things. And another example I can give you from a manager that went through my course. She also was still a VP in a big company. And she went through the corona. Beyond the corona, she also went through a tough divorce. And she didn't share with her team what she went through in these challenging times. And she needed to, handle also the team, also house breaking down, and really not pleasant situation. And during the course, we talked about vulnerability, the ability to daring to show up, to be authentic. And after the course, she decided to share with the team what she went through and the challenging time she went through. And she told me, it was amazing, because first of all, when I showed up authentically and I was vulnerable, people were empathic toward me, right? They felt her. And beyond that, she told me it was amazing, because people started showing up. And one of my employees said that he felt really lonely. And people didn't need to play a game that they didn't feel like they can bring themselves fully. And it created trust and a deeper connection between the team. And from this place, you can do anything. So I think it's really
Incredible.
crucial, and it's challenging for us. It's not
I
easy.
think that beyond
however,
challenging, I'm trying to put myself in the position of the CEO from the first example of being vulnerable and authentic. And at the end, especially in today's market, I mean, we're seeing what's happening and the competition for talent, and people have constantly opportunities chasing them. It must be a really scary thing standing in front of your employees and sharing with them, listen, we're not necessarily doing as well as your friend who you're seeing on LinkedIn that is mainly sharing how amazing everything is and how good the company is doing. So how do I, as a CEO then, Keren, how do I know whether this is a moment of being authentic and hopefully rally the people around me, especially if I'm a larger company where people don't necessarily follow me, they're following their own managers and the managers, and I'm disconnected. How do I know whether this is the right solution, or is it in your opinion that it's always the right solution?
Look, I think every situation is different, so you need to really be mindful and present with the situation. However, I believe that, there's the LinkedIn, and what we are showing is the brand that we are showing at the company. But at the end of the day, our company is built on people, right? From people. And people are talking, and people are feeling the culture. So if they feel seen and their CEO showed up and dare to be vulnerable with them, and their manager or whoever, so they feel they want to be part of this company. So it will have the results. It's like a stone that you throw to the river and it creates ripples. So this is the things that go us out, beyond the nice images, the logos, the benefits, the perks. That's nice to have, but it's not enough anymore. People are looking for meaningful in the workplace, to be seen, to feel connected, to have impact. So, and be partner of the company. So I don't have, I don't want to say always do it, because it's not right. Feel the situation. Maybe you need to find the delicate, Dr. Carol Robin talks in how does she call it? On authenticity, she said, I love it, because she said, choose which parts do you want to share and which parts do you want to put behind. So maybe you need to find the right balance. How much I want to share and how much I want to put behind. Maybe in this specific situation, I need to show more this and maybe the other. But so I think this is the being mindful and listening. And another example, you have said you like the examples. I worked with another VP of a big company that they are going through changes, transformation, and his people would have been, their terms and conditions will be affected negatively from the change. And he was coming to consult with me, and he said, what do you think? Usually I don't tell them what's happening. I think I should tell them to show them the rosy picture. And at the end of the process, I would tell them I didn't succeed in preventing the situation. But he was afraid that people will leave him, that the talented people will leave him. This was the thing he was afraid of. And I told him, what do you think? How will people react at the end of the change when they will be affected and they didn't know anything and they weren't part of the process? And I offered them to create, because they weren't engaged, right? They didn't feel connected and they won't feel part of the process. So apparently they will leave. And during the conversation, I offered them to create the dialogue spaces and to share with his employees and the managers' teams the situation, to be vulnerable, to be present, and to be there with them and to listen to them. Even sometimes only to listen to them and to share with them, it's enough. And, after the first time he did it, he came back and I saw he wasn't pleased. And I said, how was it? He said, not good. I said, why not good? He said, they were saying, ventilating, and only a few had creative ideas, but most of them said really tough things. And I told them, look, it sounds like it wasn't easy, but it was really meaningful because you were present with them in this unpleasant feeling, because he needed to be in this space, right? And to connect to his feelings. And, and in this consulting meeting, he wasn't sure we would continue with this process. And after our meeting, he understood that this is the right way forward. And he continued with it, listening to his employee, although it wasn't easy for him. And at the end of the process, when they did need to decrease their terms, most of the people stayed with him and really appreciated him for being with them and seeing them and having them as partners in the process.
Incredible. I love the distinction between it didn't go well to it wasn't easy. Very different things.
Yeah.
And that's something that I'll continue thinking about. Keren, thank you so much for these 20 minutes. I really appreciate it. It was so enjoyable for me. Taking definitely tips for myself. You'll find me tomorrow morning standing right over there, taking my 5 to 10 minute break in nature and trying to wrap my mind across what's happening and ease the wonderment and start the day not with my mind in all different places, but being much more mindful and much more present. I'll definitely keep in mind being authentic, not just with colleagues and employees, but also with relationships. It sounds like it's something that is relevant for all of them. And lastly, one of the most important things I'm taking with me, being able to handle a tough situation and owning it and understanding that even if it's rough, it doesn't mean that it's not good. It means that it's not easy, but it can actually have some substantial outcomes for building trust down the line. So Keren, thank you very, very much. I appreciate it, and stay safe and stay healthy.
Thank you very much for having me.